I'm not the biggest horror fan in the world, but I do love Stephen King. I do. I'm a Stephen King stan in a lot of ways. So when I heard that they were going to do a movie, a full theatrical release of a movie of probably one of my favorite stories, it's the first story that I ever read from Stephen King, Salem's Lot. I was interested. I wanted to see it. Never got a theatrical release, and it just came out on Max today. So let's talk about it. Author Ben Mears returns to his childhood home of Jerusalem's Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover his hometown is being preyed upon by a bloodthirsty vampire. The movie stars Lewis Pullman, Jordan Preston Carter, Makenzie Leigh, and Alfre Woodard. So a bit of history of Salem's Lot for me because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the story. The thing is I when I was young, I'm just gonna say it. I think my parents shouldn't have let me watch this. I don't know how old I was. It came out in '79, but I was way too young to see it then. I was old enough to understand what was going on, but way too young to really deal with some of the things I was seeing. This is the 1979 Salem's Lot, the miniseries, with David Soul and James Mason and Bonnie Bedelia. I mean, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. But I remember after I saw it and after probably weeks of nightmares, I said, I want to read the book. I want to read the book that this is based on. So I checked it out from the library. Probably shouldn't have let me do that either, but look, I really enjoyed it. And recently I picked up a copy of the illustrated edition of Salem's Lot so I could read it again because I haven't read it since. And so yeah, this was definitely a movie that I was really interested in seeing. Apparently, it finished filming way back in 2022 and it's just sat on the shelf. Multiple delays due to different calendar shifts because of the illness that shall not be named, and of course the 2023 Hollywood strikes pushed it back even further. And finally, Max said, yeah, let's just put it on as a streaming movie. Now, I want to bring your attention to this picture. From left to right, we have Makenzie Leigh as Sarah. We have Lewis Pullman as Ben Mears. We have Alfre Woodard as Dr. Cody. We have Jordan Preston Carter as Mark Petrie. And John Benjamin Hickey as Father Callahan. I'll just say this. The performances are a bit all over the place for me. Some of them, like Alfre Woodard and John Benjamin Hickey, I think they do a serviceable job. They do everything that they can within the confines of the script. And then there are other performances that are like, I'll just say it feels like a TV show in some respects. We also have Pilu Asbeck playing Straker, who is, I'll just say, Barlow's caretaker. And this guy, he's been really memorable in a lot of his roles over the years, including Game of Thrones, which he was great in that. But the guy has this charisma that I just really like it. He's got this spark that I just like. And every time I see him, I'm like, okay, this should be fun. Now, James Mason played this role back in the 1979 miniseries. And man, what a role, you know? And so knowing how he played that role, I was thinking, oh man, Pilu Asbeck, this is going to be delicious. Here's the thing though. The role isn't as big and it did nothing for me. I do have to bring attention to two actors that I think really, really bring it. And that is Jordan Preston Carter as Mark and Bill Camp as Matthew Burke. I think both of them are awesome. Jordan Preston Carter is a star in the making, at least as far as I'm concerned. I thought that everything that he did was just terrific. I mean, I really, really enjoyed his performance. Everything was believable, completely natural, and there was something about him that just made me go, yeah, I really like this kid. And of course, Bill Camp, I mean, he's been around for a long time and he's been doing these character roles that I just really like. And I like the way that he makes them feel like authentic, real people. And that's something that, well, this story really needs. Because here's the problem with Salem's Lot, at least according to me. There's an artificiality to everything. To the world, to the way that things are lit. I mean, everything's just too perfect. And I don't know. I don't think it needs that. It doesn't need that slick polish, that a lot of, well, I'm just going to say lesser movies tend to have. There's some lighting choices that are like, wow, it's almost shot like a stage play. And I think it detracts from the story being told. It actually makes you feel like, oh, I'm just watching fiction instead of, wow, this could actually happen. And not to say that this could actually happen, but there's something about the way that, at least, and this is, again, maybe I'm misremembering, maybe I don't know, I'm expecting too much, but the way that I look at this story in particular, it should feel lived in. It should feel real. It should feel like, I don't know, that this could actually happen in my town. Now, I mean, I think that's the draw of the story. And there's there's a believability that's missing that is here in this movie. In the original miniseries, I feel like they did a better job with that feeling than what we get here. And that's a real bummer for me. Now you might be asking yourself, hey, you have the original miniseries. You have the book. What are the differences? I can't tell you, because I forgot this movie was coming out, honestly, because there was very, very little fanfare for this movie. So it fell off my radar completely. I still haven't gotten around to watching this or reading Salem's Lot again. I haven't done it yet. So I don't know. I can't tell you, but I can tell you that there are definitely a lot of changes from the original story, from what I remember. And there's a reason for that. I can't really go into it because it may be a spoiler for something else, so I don't want to do that. But I will say that there is definitely a change in the location from where some of the final act takes place. Like, definitely a change in location. And when I saw this, I'm like, what are you doing? That's kind of cool, actually. Seriously, a cool idea. And the thing is, as a movie on its own, because that's really how I have to review this, I think there's some really effective set pieces and some really effective scenes and some cool shots. I just don't think it goes far enough. Like, for me, this movie should be creepy, like really, really creepy. And I just don't think it gets there. Like, if you're just a horror fan wanting to watch this movie, I don't think it's scary enough. Like, I don't think it's too slow for a horror fan to really sink their teeth into it. At least that's from my perspective. And then I think on the other side of it, if you're a Stephen King fan, I think you're going to be disappointed by kind of the weak characterization here. Because I think that's part of what's awesome about King is his characters and his locations and the feel of the world. We just don't get enough time to do that here. So I almost feel like this would be better as like an HBO miniseries. When it really comes down to it, I think if I want to experience Salem's Lot in a form other than the book itself, I think I'm just going to watch the original miniseries. And I got to say, there's some creepy stuff in this movie, which, again, this is a miniseries on TV, but it was shot on film. So it actually looks great on the Blu-ray. I did test it out, but I just haven't watched the whole thing yet. So yeah, I would recommend that. But look, if you've got Max and you want to watch a vampire flick, you got Max, just, hey, watch it. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's just, eh. Now, just a couple of things before we go. Lewis Pullman, right? Who plays Ben Mears. You might be going, hey, is that? Yes, it is. It's Bill Pullman's son. I didn't realize that when I saw him in Top Gun Maverick last year, but yeah, he's Bill Pullman's son. There's another actor, Nicholas Cravetti, who plays Danny in the movie. You might be saying, hey, wait a minute, I've seen this kid in some things before. Isn't that? And it's like, well, kind of. Because his twin brother Cameron plays Ryan in The Boys. So that's interesting. You might also recognize Spencer Treat Clark, who plays Mike Ryerson in Salem's Lot. You might recognize him, because I did, because he plays Bruce Willis' son in Unbreakable. But I didn't actually make the connection that he was also Lucius in Gladiator. So Salem's Lot, look, it's the thing, right? It's there. It's there. It's not my favorite movie. It's not the worst movie. It's just kind of meh. But I would be interested to hear your thoughts on maybe not just that movie, but some of the earlier versions of Salem's Lot. I mean, I didn't even talk about the Rob Lowe miniseries because I've never seen that. Let's talk about it. If you have anything you want to discuss, that's what the comment section's for. But anyway, look, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.